What's going on, Couch fam? This is the most extensive list of waiver wire pickups for week 3 of fantasy football at every single position, including defense and kicker. For those new to the channel, my name is Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you won't miss future videos like this. Awesome fantasy football content you don't want to miss right here on this channel. Let's go to the quarterback ads for week 3. All right, so there are some decent options. The top 5 are fairly decent. We got not a big difference between the top 5, actually. We got Kirk Cousins having some decent matchups going against Seattle, Cleveland, Detroit, and then the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater seems to have that number 1 job on lock going against the Jets this week. And he's averaging nearly 300 pass yards a game. And he's got 0 interceptions and 2 touchdowns week 1, 2 touchdowns week 2. So that's very promising, very consistent. Not really a huge upside quarterback, but still maybe not as safe and careless as we thought he was in Carolina. So he has improved a little bit. Sam Darnold has some really sweet matchups going against the Texans Thursday Night Football this week. Then next week could be a shootout against the Cowboys, and he's averaging nearly 300 pass yards a game as well. Now we have 2 polar opposites here. We got the smart, reliable quarterback that's going to get your NFL team some real life wins in Derek Carr. And then we have the unreliable, crazy quarterback who gets a lot of rushing stats and will probably lose the game for the Giants. But he's doing pretty good fantasy-wise. He's putting up fantasy points, 25 fantasy points per game. It's just that I feel like when you add him and you actually consider starting him, he's going to fumble the ball twice and just put up like 6 fantasy points for your team. But hey, you can't deny it. He's putting up fantasy points. Just an unreliable option. So we do have Derek Carr at 4, Daniel Jones at 5. Then Justin Fields just might start this week. Andy Dalton suffered an injury. Seems to be minor though. But hey, this Chicago Bears team is a weird franchise. Maybe they'll use this as an excuse to start Justin Fields. I know I would. I mean, I would have done a lot of things different if I was the Chicago Bears front office and coach. But hey, whatever. There's still an even higher chance that Justin Fields plays a lot more with this Andy Dalton injury. And then it's, these guys are really just depth for deep leagues or maybe even super flex leagues. But we have Big Ben. He does have a minor injury. I do expect him to play, but he might not practice a lot this week. Nonetheless, 2 great matchups against the Bengals, then the Packers. Tyler Heineke is the starter for Washington for the next 8 weeks and maybe beyond that. We'll see. He's playing well. He might get some wins. And maybe he's better than Fitzpatrick. Big knock on him is that he's not that mobile and won't get you those rushing stats. But he is a good quarterback and always has been whenever he's gotten the opportunity. Tyrod Taylor is expected to miss multiple games. So Davis Mills is the starter this week. Carson Wentz, I think he has 2 ankle injuries. It sounds bad. But Jacob Eason should get the start. And then Tua has a minor injury, so he's expected to miss anywhere from 0 games to 1 game. So he won't be missing too much time. Still something to monitor. And Jacoby Brissett would get the nod if Tua can't go. Decent matchup this week against the Raiders. Running backs, oh my. The Mike Davis romance era, the Mike Davis honeymoon has come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Cordero Patterson is getting a ton of snaps, a ton of targets, and a ton of carries. And he's looking good. He is the Falcons' secret weapon. He's probably the one guy that's helping the Falcons stay in the game. He's really that good, and it hurts me to say it because I don't have him in any leagues, and I just got Mike Davis in a trade. I don't know if I'm going to regret it or not. He was a depth piece in the trade, but let's see what's going to happen. I think they're going to keep playing Cordell Patterson because he looks great. He's like the X Factor guy, right? He's the guy that the opposing defense forgets to cover because you're worried about Pitts. You're worried about Calvin Ridley. You're worried about Matt Ryan throwing it deep. And then you got Cordell Patterson, a guy who can return the ball. He can be a running back. He can be a wide receiver. On top of that, it's a slight bonus that he has dual eligibility. So you can start him at flex. You can start him at running back. You can start him at wide receiver on most platforms. Tony Pollard been saying he's a must-add. And it's just kind of weird that a guy gets drafted in round 8, sometimes 9, sometimes 10. And then people just give up on him when he did absolutely nothing for you to warrant giving up on. And he's doing more with less touches. Zeke is still the man. Zeke's still going to be pass protecting. Zeke's still going to get the snaps. But in an 18-week season, you're going to have to expect Tony Pollard to continue getting some work at least. And I'm saying it again, if anything were to happen to Zeke, Tony Pollard, instant top 5 running back. Yes, that means that Tony Pollard will become better than Zeke if Zeke were to be out, because we're going to see him get all the snaps, all the carries, all the receptions, all the work on a good offense. And then we got James White against Ramondre Stevenson ruled out last week. James White got a lot of work. Now, he's not that good in non-PPR leagues, but we all play PPR, or at least half PPR. 13 targets so far this year. Absolute steal. And this is exactly what happens, right? James White, it finishes around RB40. The only time he does that is with Cam, who's essentially a running back at the quarterback position. Without Cam, James White is always like top 20, top 25. He's always an RB2. And in this case, again, James White in PPR is an RB2. Should be added in all PPR formats. Alexander Mattison, kind of similar to Tony Pollard, except he doesn't have any value when Dalvin Cook is healthy. The thing is, Dalvin Cook every year does suffer at least some minor injuries. Right now, Dalvin has a minor ankle sprain. Probably won't hold him out. He's probably good to go, but we're kind of expecting Dalvin to suffer another injury. Could be another minor injury sometime this year. If you have bench space, go ahead and get that handcuff. Now, guy, if you watch my draft videos, I've drafted Jeff Wilson, or somebody in a Couch Fam League has drafted Jeff Wilson in every single league, and we have him in the Throne League. And if you have IR spots, he's pretty much a must-add. You add him, and you watch Hack My Lineup. I do the same thing. You add him for free, get him, put him on IR, boom. Do the IR glitch, go ahead and add an extra player, hoard an extra player. And right now, Jeff Wilson's value has completely skyrocketed. Raheem Mostert is out for the year. Jeff Wilson's already started running about 5-6 days ago. It's not major news or anything, but seems like Jeff Wilson might return around week 8, maybe even week 7 at the absolute earliest. He's going to have to miss 6 weeks because he's on PUP. But think about this, right? Raheem Mostert out for the year. They got rid of Wayne Gallman. Jermichael Hasty is going to be out. He's got a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for like 2 months. So Jeff Wilson's probably going to return before Hasty returns. Trey Sermon's in concussion protocol was a healthy scratch week 1. And also my guy, Eli Mitchell, has a minor injury. Should be good to go, but I mean, literally every running back on the Niners is hurt. Jeff Wilson, when he returns, could cause some damage. And, this is a move I made last year. We did it in the Throne League and ended up winning a championship. When we needed Jeff Wilson that 1 week, he came through. It is a little bit of running back roulette with the Niners, but hey, if there's an obvious week where Jeff Wilson's the starter and he's going up against a great matchup, when I'm saying this is a very likely scenario and it helps you get that win, hey, could be worth it. Now, in leagues that don't have IR spots, in leagues with shallow benches, you realistically can't afford to pick up Jeff Wilson. That's just reality. That's just the way it is. But most leagues do have an IR spot. Sony Michel, I think Darrell Henderson's injury is very minor, but still, I mean, come on, the Rams offense could be the starting running back. He's semi-decent, at least, worth a look at, especially if you can get him for free after the waiver priorities are put in, after the waiver claims are put in. Michael Carter, he's still in that committee. It's still not looking good for him nor the Jets, but he is also the best running back on that team, worth a stash. And then in deeper leagues, we got Kenny Gainwell. We got J.D. McKissick, who won't get a lot of volume, but he's a really good pass-catching back. And he just seems to find a way to score points. No volume, though. I don't like it as an Antonio Gibson owner. Then we got Latavius Murray and Zach Moss, who's playing and somehow is scoring with low volume. I don't know. I'm not high on him, but, I got to put him on this list. Lots of wide receivers. I think we really want maybe like the top 8 guys. Yeah, the top 8 is pretty. There's lots of options though. So we got Rondale Moore, who I love in Dynasty. I'm just enamored by him, and he shocked even me. He looks great. And so I am thankful I do have him in one of my Dynasty leagues. Wow, like he's everything he was advertised to be and more. No pun intended. Rondale Moore, man, you got to add him. AJ Green's not really that bad. Like, he's definitely old AJ Green. Still reliable AJ Green. But this is the new shiny toy for the Cardinals, and man, did they make a great draft pick. And he can be the running back. He can do it in the short game, and he's just a yak monster. He's great. So I think you got to add him because we want those upside plays, right? And that's a guy with a lot of upside. We also have Darnell Mooney, who's surprisingly not rostered in a ton of leagues, maybe about half. He's rostered in about half the leagues. KJ Osborne seems to be the real deal. I think there's no tight end for the Vikings. There's no Vikings tight end for you to roster. It's KJ Osborne. He's really taken all those tight end targets. Quintez Cephas, Zach Pascal, Tim Patrick, Jalen Reagor, Sterling Shepard, Devontae Parker, but keep in mind that Will Fuller is expected to return this week. Elijah Moore, KJ Hamler. I'm just going to be reading these off because this is like really deep leagues and not a lot of big difference between these guys. At number 12, Henry Ruggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Could be more involved in the offense as the year goes along, but this is nothing more than a deep league stash. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he's getting the targets, but not really putting up the points. He's going to definitely blow up for 2 or 3 weeks. Don't know what weeks those will be, but it will happen. AJ Green, Hunter Renfrow, Brian Edwards, Mecole Hardman. Don't really like the talent, but hey, if he's the number 3 option, playing with Mahomes, that's definitely worth some value. Adam Humphries or De'Ami Brown. I think De'Ami Brown's better long-term, much better in Dynasty, of course, while Adam Humphries probably a little bit safer for the short term. Donovan Peoples-Jones, we know that Jarvis is on IR and Odell is still hurt. Have no clue when he's returning. And we got Van Jefferson and James Washington in the small case that Dante Johnson can't play. I'd say Dante Johnson misses about 0 or 1 weeks, but that's just a guess coming from me. For tight ends, I surprisingly have Pat Freiermuth ranked number 1 because this could be the breakout tight end. This could be the man, and this list is completely based off upside. I can give you a lot of crappy tight ends that'll get you 6 fantasy points, 5 fantasy points, but you don't want to start that guy ever. You want to start, even if there's a small, tiny chance that this guy could be the next tight end, that's who you want to start. You want to start a guy who's going to just get a ton of targets or get a ton of looks in the red zone, get a ton of chances for a touchdown. And you want to take a risk, and that's going to be Pat Freiermuth. He seems to be already surpassing Eric Ebron. Freiermuth got 4 targets in week 2, while Ebron got only 2 targets. And I'm telling you right now, he's better than Eric Ebron. 5 targets on the year, 5 catches. I don't think I've seen him drop a pass in preseason. Don't think I've seen him drop a pass in training camp. And, I mean, when you do impressive stuff like that, the coach has to take note And guys like me and you have to take note too. It's very impressive. I'm so thankful I do have him in one of my dynasty leagues as well. Evan Ingram could return as early as this week. Why am I saying that? He wasn't placed on IR, right? If they were like, okay, he's going to miss at least 4 weeks, they would have put him on IR, which means that he'll miss, at least 3. So they didn't put him on IR, which means there is some hope he will return week 3. Now, I don't know about that, but I'm expecting him to be back week 3 or week 4. Nonetheless, Evan Ingram is injury prone. Jared Cook. Actually, we can put Jared Cook higher on this list. Can I do that now? Because, we got a guy who's not injured, not really that injury prone. And then, there we go. There we go. We got it looking good. I like it. All right, so we'll put the guy who's actually not injured higher. But that's how much I am enamored by Pat Freiermuth. And, I'm trying not to get excited over a rookie, and because, a lot of people make that mistake, right? The younger rookie player, but, the upside there, right? The potential is just so high. I feel like, and he's also a guy you don't have to spend a lot of FAB on, put in a $0 claim, try to get him off free agency. He's just the best tight end stash in a long time, I think. And so with all the injuries to the Cleveland wide receivers, we got Austin Hooper. He seems to be the number 1 tight end, getting a little bit more snaps than David Njoku, 80 snaps, 8 targets on the year. We got Jack Doyle getting a ton of targets this past week. A kind of similar situation where the Colts don't have a lot of receivers. Juwan Johnson still worth an add. I know the Saints kind of pooped week 2, but maybe they might bounce back. We saw Adam Troutman not get any targets week 2. He got a good amount in week 1, but 0 week 2. Goes to show us that Juwan Johnson might be the pass-catching tight end. Well, he was a wide receiver not too long ago. We got Blake Jarwin, who's getting more and more targets. Could be a trend, could be nothing, because Dalton Schultz is still getting a lot of snaps. And then, David Njoku in deeper leagues. He's right behind Austin Hooper. Max Williams, he got a ton of targets week 2. I think only 1 target week 1. I don't trust any Cardinals tight end. It just won't happen, right? When you start him, the 1 week you need him, he won't put up any points, nothing. But when he's on your bench, he might go off. Don't trust Cardinals tight ends. And then we got Tyler Conklin, who has no upside. Moving on to defenses, lots of great defenses, and I am going to put a couple defenses that are 90% rostered or more, just so you guys have them. They vary league to league. A lot of people are in shallow leagues and ask me, so hey, I'm just going to rank them here. So the Panthers D is going to be one of the top defenses this week with no Tyrod Taylor. Thursday night game. This game could get really out of hand. Everything points to the Panthers defense absolutely going off. Should be the number 1 added defense this week. Could be the number 1 highest scoring defense this week as well. Cardinals D going against the Jags. That could be a lot of fantasy points. Ravens D, now they're rostered in every league, but they may have gotten dropped after that week 1 disappointing performance. And then they're like, fantasy owners are like, oh, they're facing the Chiefs. Let me drop them. It could have happened. We got the Bills D going against Washington. Could be a low scoring game. It could be a really low scoring game for Washington. They're going to really struggle to put up touchdowns. So we'll see. Bills defense looking really beastly this year. Then we have the Dolphins D. Now it starts to curtail, right? These 4 are really strong, and then it curtails down. Dolphins D going against the Raiders. Titans D going against the Colts. Would not ever consider the Titans D. They're awful, except if Wentz is out. Now, if Wentz is out and maybe a receiver or 2 is out for the Colts, that could really boost the Titans defense. We got the Browns D going against the Bears. Saints D going against the Patriots. Could be a low-scoring game there. Bears D going against Cleveland. They're out all their starting wide receivers, possibly. Giants D going against the Falcons. Could be a low-scoring poop fest. Messy game there. Bad O-line and Daniel Jones playing. You never know where the defensive points will come from. Colts D going against the Titans. Colts is one of those defenses that they always have bad matchups. They always find ways to put up fantasy points. It's kind of scary. It doesn't make any sense, but we've been seeing this for like the past 20 games from the Colts D. And we got the Raiders going against the Dolphins. Dolphins are a little bit up and down, a little bit messy with their quarterback situation. And Falcons D going against the Giants in that same game I was talking about. This is my favorite list here. You guys are going to absolutely crush it with kickers if you can get one of these top 4 guys for free. So the top 4 are elite options. Matt Prater, he's got all the tools. He's probably, as far as talent and reliability, he's probably like top 13, something like that in real life. And now you're going up against the Jags. Amazing matchup. Everything aligns for Matt Prater to go off. Absolutely go off. No pressure on the Cardinals, right? Kyler Murray could just throw it away. They could just run the ball in the second half and settle for field goals if you have a 2-touchdown lead. The offense for the Cardinals should do well. The defense for the Cardinals should do well. And Matt Prater should get a lot of opportunities to kick extra points and field goals. Brandon McManus kind of making a comeback in fantasy. Another great matchup. He did well last week, and I do see him having continued success this week against the Jets. Graham Gano, pretty talented kicker, and a great matchup. If Danny Dimes could not turn the ball over, if you can do that for me, Danny Dimes, Graham Gano is going to be an excellent ad. Only problem is that Graham Gano went off. I think he put up 19 fantasy points last week, something crazy like that. Thursday Night Football, everyone saw it, everyone took note, and that's what people look at. So unfortunately, he will be added in some leagues. Never spend FAB on a kicker. Never wait. Don't burn a claim on a kicker. Just wait for free agency, because we always find those sleeper kickers. I got you guys back every week. I know which kickers to add. Don't waste any FAB. Don't draft a kicker in round 12 or 13 in your leagues. Don't waste a waiver wire claim on a kicker. Just add them for free after the waivers clear. And then at number 4, we have another amazing kicker, is Zane Gonzalez. Not the most talented and skilled and reliable kicker, not at all. He's probably not even top 20 in real life, I would say. If I had to go get a kicker for my NFL team and I was an NFL GM, I wouldn't get Zane Gonzalez. I'd pick about 20 guys before him. But that doesn't mean he's bad. If you're top 25, that doesn't mean you're bad. Now, if you're outside like the top 28, that's bad. So he's still decent. I still have enough confidence for him that in this plus matchup, I would start him. I think the Panthers run the ball. We might even see Chuba Hubbard get 5, 7, 10 fantasy points this game. And I think you settle for field goals. Lots of opportunities for Zane Gonzalez this game. Lots of chip shots. I have him at 4. 5, Jason Sanders is a talented, reliable kicker, but this Dolphins team, I don't know what's going on, man. They look good. They look bad. Tua's hurt. Tua's not hurt. I don't know what's going on here. Still worth holding on to Sanders if you have him. Decent matchup against the Raiders. And then, if you're more, I think you should be able to find one of those guys off free agency. If not, we do have Chris Boswell, Cairo Santos, Evan McPherson. Not a good matchup, but man, is this guy talented. Jason Myers, Rodrigo Blankenship, and Jake Elliott. Well, there you have it, folks. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We also have a second YouTube channel that we go live on right after the Thursday Night Football games. It's called Fantasy Couch Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to that one as well. Help us get to, what do we need to get to? 2K subscribers. All right, guys, good luck this week. Let's go get that W, baby.